Igen. Igen, csak ugye tehát a probléma az ezekkel a statisztikai adatokkal, meg ezzel az egész kivándorlási hullámmal, hogy nem hatalmas számokról beszélünk. Tehát itt akár, mint látható, ugye a legtöbb egy évben a 180 magyar. Tehát itt akár néhány két tucat is nagyon markáns kiugrást. Tehát akár olyanra is gondolhatunk, hogy a zöme, ugye ezeknek a statisztikai adatok zöme az amerikai kikötőknek az utaslistáiból jön. Tehát akár 1, 2, 3 vagy 10 hajónak az eltűnt utaslistája is okozhat már ilyen zavart ezekben a forrásokban. Tehát azért magában én ebből nem biztos, hogy messze menő következtetéseket vonnék le.
Szerintem ez előadásról nagyon érdekes lesz.
Köszönöm.
De őszintén szólva nem értettem minden. Azonban olvastam el a fejezetet angolul ebben a témában. Van 3 kérdésem magamnak. Kérdezhetem angolul?
Persze, sure.
I read your chapter published in a book last year, and you argued that the further Hungarian emigres migrated to the west in the 1850s, to the frontier, the more likelihood they had to amass more wealth. So, although Hungarian emigres were poverty-stricken compared to the average American family, do you think that when the American Civil War broke out, even for these men, the primary motivation was for financial betterment rather than aversion to slavery principles?
Probably not the aversion of slavery, but I think this was one of the major motivations. I think for those who had military experience, I'm pretty sure that they went to fight in the Civil War because that's what they were good at. So they wanted to make use of their military training and their military experience. So I think that was one of the primary motivations. And also those who went to the West and who lived on the frontier, they were not doing so well. So they were somewhat better as far as their financial conditions and as far as their real estate property was concerned. But that's not.
It just seems a rather cynical argument. These are the people who fought in the Kossuth Revolution, and now their main motivation is to better themselves, to use their military expertise rather than to fight for freedom. My question is, if they weren't paid, what was it, $50? Would they still have fought in the American Civil War?
I guess so, yes. So the other thing I was talking about, if you're hungry and if you don't have money, then it's automatically the primary motivation. So that's a necessity, that's a must. But I think these people did believe in certain high aims, and I think so they believed that they owed their military service to their adopted country. So I think this was also very important, and this explains why many Hungarians who settled in the southern states, in slave holding states, they also chose to serve their. I'm not saying their country because I think there was no such attachment in the Confederacy, but they felt that they owe their service to their community, to their local I don't know, regions or vicinity.
You argue that
yeah.
the Civil War helped to monetize these.
Yeah, absolutely.
One other question then, if these Hungarian emigres were so poverty-stricken and homesick, as you argue, why did some of them stay in the United States even after the Great Compromise of 1867 and the amnesty? They stayed in the United States.
Because in my dissertation, one of the final chapters is about the post-Civil War era, and I argue in that chapter that for most of them, the Civil War was or meant a major advancement in as far as their assimilation, as far as their integration into American society was concerned. Most of them learned proper or close to proper English, and there were many of them, as I pointed out, who were in the American diplomatic services. So I think all these combined meant that I'm not saying that they felt more at home in the U.S., but it was something like that, and that's the reason why it was below 10%. I mean, the proportion of those who decided to remigrate. So I think the Civil War was a major step in their assimilation in the United States, and not just for Hungarians. That was quite typical for many foreigners, for German Americans, for example.
Why did William Kossuth stay in the United States?
Because he believed that his primary aim was even in the emigration was to start a new freedom fight sometime in the future, and he believed that in the U.S. he would have been in isolation. He would have been way far from politics in Europe, and then that's why he refused to settle.
Can I throw in one comment
sure.
to what you had said before the Kossuth question? I think that assimilation or acceptance works both ways. Mm-hmm. And what the Civil War meant for these immigrants, judging from what you have told us so far, is that they got recognition by mainstream American society.
Absolutely.
So as you had indicated before, they had like no-hopper professions, like singing groups and whatnot, and the war earned them prestige, and they became a recognized minority with some recognition.
That's true.
That sort of prompted them to stay.
And I mentioned this Utashi guy. You know, he was imprisoned, but he was an exception. So most of the Hungarians served as officers, and I think 87% of the Hungarians were mustered out as officers, and there were high-ranking officers among them, brigadier generals and lots of colonels. So exactly, they did a good job, and they served well in the Civil War. And this, I mean, military career is one way how you can advance and how you can get yourself acknowledged. Más kérdés? Any more questions?
Nekem lehet egy szemben lezáró kérdésem? Ha a Kossuth-emigránsok zenekart alapítottak volna, ki milyen hangszeren játszik? Ezt már évek óta meg akartam kérdezni valami ilyen alkalommal.
Hát ez egy jó kérdés, gondolkozok majd egy kicsit rajta. És nem leszek itt jövő héten, hogy én kérdezzek szemben.
Szép vagyok bár.
Jó, nincs más kérdés, akkor köszönöm szépen a figyelmet.
Még egyszer szeretném megköszönni, hogy csak ezért eljöttél Németországból, hogy ezt az előadást megtartsd. Köszönjük szépen. És köszönjük önöknek és nektek is, hogy eljöttetek meghallgatni ezt az előadást. A sorozat következő része az itt jelenlévő dr. Glan Tibor előadása lesz, és ez az előadás az Amerikai Egyesült Államok és Trianon címet fogja viselni, az időpontja pedig február 25-e, jövő hét csütörtök, este 6 óra, erre is mindenki